welcome to yet another video, and for this one I'm going to be focusing on payhero API. And the use case for this one I'm going to be looking at how to integrate the WhatsApp API for payhero and try and simulate a payment in WhatsApp directly. So instead of having to redirect your users outside WhatsApp, you can just let them pay directly through WhatsApp. So first things first, we need to go to the documentation area and you're going to scroll down to where you have your API key for WhatsApp. So it's going to give you a list of things you need to do. If you don't have an account, create an account. You should get your API username and password. Good. Now the next thing you need to do is go to get started. It should tell you how you need to get started, and you see you have this link here which you need to open up. I'm going to go to that link, and you notice you have your payhero API username and a notification URL. So what is a notification URL? According to payhero, a notification URL, this is what will be used to send you message events, incoming events, or outgoing messages for your application. So what this means is whenever somebody sends you a message on your designated number, which you're going to link to payhero, you get a notification which should be sent to your notification URL. So for this use case, I'm not really going to be doing a notification URL on live. We're going to be using our localhost, but we're going to be exposing our localhost endpoint to the internet so that we can work with online data on our local machine. After that, you should be able to see what payhero is telling you to do. You're going to get a QR code which you're going to scan, and you're going to get a session. So how do you scan this? So you need to go to your WhatsApp, and once you're on your homepage for your WhatsApp, there's some three dots right on the top right of your application. Click on them and you should see linked devices. On the linked devices, you need to now click on link a device, and then you're going to scan that. So let's go ahead and do that. Now first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pass my API username. So this is only valid for this API key, this video, so don't really try it out anyway. The notification URL, so what I'm going to do is I want to create a notification URL using ngrok. So if you don't know what ngrok is, it basically exposes your local server to online, so that you can use your local machine over the internet. So let's go ahead and use ngrok. So I'm going to open a CMD. So if you don't have ngrok installed, you need to install it. So it only takes a minute. You need to go to their website and follow the steps. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to initiate it. I'm going to say ngrok http, and I'm going to pass 8060. Now 8060 is the port that my server is running on. So I'm using Node.js for this video. So the server that my port is running on is 8060. So if I come here, you notice I have 8060 here, right? So if you're using a different port for your server, you just need to pass it here. So I'm going to click on it, and I should get a server. Excuse me. All right, so there you go. So we have this link here. So this is what I want to copy. Just copy this, and I'm going to paste it right about here. However, my code, if I go to my code here, I have this endpoint called engine, which is inside a controller called components data. So I want to now pass that here. So this is my routes for my API. So if your API routes are different, just change that. So I'm going to say components data and the function name, endpoint name, which is engine, right? So click on that, and we should get our session started. So when you click on this, now you need to go to where I told you on connect linked devices. So you should get a QR code you can scan here. Now there we go. So you just need to scan this QR code, and you should get your session started. So once you notice that the device has connected, it should vibrate, and you should get your connection started. Good. Now once that has started and it has connected on your device, you just need to click on fetch, and it should give you a session for your session basically. And there you go. So we have a session, as you can see, which is connected to this phone number. So anytime somebody tries to message this phone number using the sessions that we have provided, it should basically just come here and start getting replies this. So you just need to make sure that this number is basically for your application. Sorry, not your application, but for your business. Good. So now what you need to do is we can try and demo this. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to open WhatsApp here, and I'm also going to open my port here. There you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm going to say hello. So if this works fine, we should see a message which says hello, which basically will be sent from the session. Alright. Home Mutai. So as you can see, this is connected to a home here. Let me see if we can say yep. So we have these here. Okay, so as you can see, we have a message which has come from this, and on the body you should see what we just sent here. Good. So we don't want everything that has been sent here to come directly to this. So I'm just going to show you a demo of what we expect, and then we can proceed from there. So I'm just going to remove this code here, and now we can initiate this. So what we want to do is, let me just get rid of this. We need a conversation like response basically from this app. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say pay. So let me open the portal here. Open the server here. So it seems like there's an error, which is, let's just say pay. Let's see. All right, so say pay. Hold on. All right, so let's start simulating that situation. I'm going to say pay here. So this is the keyword that we are actually targeting. So let me, okay, there you go. So please enter a very down. So I'm going to say I want to pay 11 shillings, and you should go ahead and kind of ask me on what need to do next. So which number do you wish to get charged? Now the purpose for this is, you might be using your Airtel number, but you need to get your message payment prompt from your Safaricom number. So I'm going to put my phone number, 59,408,403, and basically what will happen here is I'm going to get a push notification initiated on my WhatsApp, the number that I provide here. And in case that fails, you should also be able to get like a notification basically. So I got my message here, my prompt. So in case that fails, you should also in case they cancel or it fails, you should get this notification which tells you how to pay manually. Good. So once you have made the payment, now that will be up to you to decide how things happen. So once a payment has been successful, but the whole purpose for this is to show you how we are going to be doing this kind of situation, or this kind of message chat, or all that stuff. So first thing you need to notice, it's going to be listening for a keyword called pay. This is what's going to be initiating the whole payment process for you. Good. So that being said, we are just going to go ahead and clear everything that we have here, and start everything from scratch, so you can go ahead and try it out yourself. So I'm going to just get rid of this and just remove everything from here, and we only have an empty asynchronous function here. Good. So let's go ahead and start that. So first thing first we need to do is handle our processes. But before we start, I'm going to be using an API, basically, a wrapper that I created here. You should be able to find that wrapper in payhero documentation. You should get it here on this Node.js WS package here. So go ahead and install this in your project, right? So if you open your server here, sorry, not server, but your project. If you open your project, so if I go to my projects where I want to start working with this API, it's on this folder. I'm going to open CMD on it, and I'm going to say npm install payhero wrapper. So once this has been installed, now you can be able to go ahead and function or work with all the functions available. So the function we're going to be focusing on is this one here called payhero payments SDK push. You can also use SasaPay SDK push. This is what we're going to be using for the SasaPay SDK push. So this is for people who don't have their payment channels. Now another thing that we need is we also need to be able to work with sending WhatsApp messages. So it seems like there's an issue here, so just ignore 1C. So this is what you're going to be using for sending the WhatsApp messages. So first things first, we need to go ahead and create those functions that are supposed to be triggering this. But before we proceed, remember this whole process is just for creating the messages. So for setting up this wrapper, you need to follow the instructions here. You need to import it, initialize it, and you need to pass your token here, which should be a basic token. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to show you how I do it, and you can just straight up go ahead and try and do it again for yourself that same way, right? So I'm not really going to show you how to generate it, but I'm going to show you how it's done, and maybe you can pause the video, take a screenshot, and then do it later on, right? Okay, so you need to import the payhero here. So this is supposed to be at the top of your code, but for whatever reason I put it here. So import it, then you need to give your username and your API password, API key. Then you need to set the credentials here, which is just joining the two, and then you need to convert it to a base64, right? So this is what you're going to be using for encoding. Now your token now should be basic, and then the encoded credentials, which is base64. Then you can initialize your token like this. Now once you're done with that, everything is good, you can go ahead and start working. All right, so let's go to our engine here. The first things I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function down below here, which is going to be for sending the WhatsApp message. So I'm going to say function send WhatsApp message like that. So it's going to be 2, and we're going to say message like that. So we are going to be accepting 2 parameters here. Good. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to create a constant which is going to be holding our WhatsApp details, right? So this is going to be holding the WhatsApp details of whatever we are going to be passing. And we're going to say WhatsApp details, and you're going to pass the message here, right? Then you're going to also pass the phone number, and this phone number is going to be this parameter called 2, and we're also going to pass the session. So the session is going to be your API key, right? So this is going to be your API username, right? So the way you're going to get it is we are going to come here where we opened our session, and you need to just fetch the session details here like this. Just fetch it, and once you find that you have a session, you just need to copy this particular API username here. Okay, so it seems like this is taking too long, but your session details is this API key username here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it and I'm going to press it inside here. Okay, so I'm just going to pass it right about there. So obviously you're going to have saved it somewhere like your env file or stuff like that. So this is just for demos. Good. So now that we have that, the next thing we need to do is we now need to have initialization of the payment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm going to do payhero. Okay, so it's going to be payhero like that dot make. So what we need to do here is we need to go to this here and I'm going to look for this. So I'm interested in this particularly, right? So I want to do just grab this and I'm going to transfer it here. So this should be make WhatsApp payment. So this should initiate the WhatsApp messaging. So this will send the messages for the WhatsApp. So what we need to do is now handle situations like what happens after this has been sent, what will go on, or stuff like that. So what I want to do here is maybe just leave it the way it is, and also we can do a catch. So the catch will be the error message that goes on or stuff like that, right? Okay, so that being done, we are basically done with those that function. So now the next thing we need to do here is now start working with our code. Now, first things first is you need to know the structure of our response that we get from the payhero API. So we go up to where we started and you notice that we have let me just scroll up. So these are these are basic example of what we are going to be looking for. So we are more interested in the payload, and then we need to know where it came from, and then we also need the body, maybe know where it's going to, right? So the body is empty here. So we're interested in the body. So what you're going to do is we are going to create two variables here. So I'm going to create a payload. So I'm going to say const payload, okay, which is going to be equals to let's just put it inside those brackets. Now this payload is going to be equals to leg dot body. So this is the equivalent of just doing leg dot body dot payload, but instead of having to do dot payload, we just do it like this. Okay. All right, so let's do this. So now that we have the payload, next thing we need to do is do const. We need to know where it's coming from. So we're going to say const from. So this will allow us to format the JSON in an easier way. And then I'm going to do dot body here. All right. Const payload for. All right. Now that we have that, we need to now initiate or initialize a conversation. So we need a way that we can initialize the conversations. So what I'm going to do is just outside here, create a conversation variable. I see you already have it. So here we need to initiate a conversation. Right, so what we're going to do is we first need to make sure that the conversation is not empty, or from where it's coming from is not empty. So I'm going to say if conversation, not conversations from, right? Then you're going to do conversations from, then we need to start give it some few steps, or like step 1, step 2. So the step is going to be, let's just say we want it to start here, right? So that's what we just need to pass, and we are done with that. Good. So now the next thing we need to do is we need to get the current conversation. Okay, so to get the current conversation, we're just going to do const. So we just need to get the conversation state. Just create something, call it conversation state, which is going to be equals to conversations, and then you're going to do from. Don't need a step here. Good. After that, we just need to do a switch, because now the reason for doing a switch is because we just need to have static steps that we can use. So we're going to create a switch here, and we want to use conversation state step so that we can be checking where it's from, where it's ending, where it has ended, and let's create a case. So the first case is going to be start, which is what we initiated here as a step. So it's going to be listening for the step. So we're going to say case start. Then you need to do some if conditions here. Alright, so we're going to say if body, so just need to convert this to lowercase in case somebody types into capital K, capital letter. So the body here is this, particularly this body that we have here. So we're going to say body dot to lowercase, okay. Alright, so body dot lowercase is equals to pay. Then we need to do something here, right? So we need to do get conversations from, then you also need to get the step, and then the next step is going to be the amount. So we just need to switch to amount after we have done the payment, right? So since we are already sure that the pay has already started, so after that, once that has been done, we now need to send a message. Now remember, we created this function here called send message, which accepts two parameters. So what I'm going to do is down here, we're going to say send message. So this is going to send a message which is coming from here. So we send the message which is coming from our session, and we need to ask this person how much do you want to receive. So we're going to say how much do you want to get to pay, basically. All right, so now else we need to handle for when there's an else. Okay, so we're going to say else. We're also going to send a message, and then so we just need to say please enter a varied amount. So in case this fails, you need to give them an alternative here, down below here. Then after you're done with that, you can just break this and continue to the next step. Now the next case is the amount, just like this. So we have to do const amount. So we need to pass it to an integer because this is how payhero expects it to be. So pass it to an integer, and after you're done with that, okay, so this will be coming from the body. So we're going to say body pass int, and it has to be two numbers, 10 characters, like that. So once we have that, we can just go ahead and check if the amount is a valid number. So like that. So we can do if is none. So this is how you check in JavaScript for that this is a variable, and we're going to say if none amount, which is this what we just created here at the top. And then you also need to check if it's actually greater or less than something. Basically, if you want to prevent people sending money or amounts below a certain value, so you can just check that. So we want to make sure it's not less than 0, less or equal to 0, basically. And once we are done with that, we can just come here and initiate that send message. So we're going to say send or sub message, and we're going to say please enter a valid amount. I think I mistook something here. Okay, yeah, I mistook something here. So if this fails, we need to tell this person that we don't understand what they are trying to do. So we can say I did not understand. Again, Okay, so yeah, we can do that. And then once we're done with the amount here, I think that is all we have to do. We don't need anything else here. So in the if condition here, once they are done with this, we can break it right about here. Then continue with our conversation down here. So you can say conversation, conversations from step dot amount is equals to amount. So we need to just make this the amount we created here. Okay, and then we can also do conversations from dot step. So basically what is going to happen here now is now we are moving to our next step, which is getting the phone number. So we're going to ask the person to enter the phone number. So we need to ask them for a phone number here. Okay, and after they are done, you can just send another message here to tell them what they want to do. So this, keep in mind that we are just creating steps, but to let them know that we are moving to the next step, we now need to send them message again. So this is send WhatsApp message, and we are going to ask them which number do you want to charge. Good. Now with that being done, we are done with that step, and we can break now this case. Okay, good. So now we are done. Remember, we are initializing the next step before we go to the next case, right? So when you go to the next case, you have already asked them what number they want. So when they respond with the amount, you already know that the amount was already initialized when they typed on pay, right? So we are moving to the next step. So like in the amount now, this we are going to now ask them to enter the phone number they want, and then you're going to handle the next case, which is going to be the case for when they type the phone number or when the phone number body has been received. So we're going to say case. We're going to say case phone number, right? We could say const phone number is equals to body, right? Now that being done, what we need to do next is by now need to check the amount which was supposed to be charged here. So we're going to say const amount charged. Let's do that. Let's do amount charged is equals to, how do we go about this? Let's get it from the conversations. Yes, so we're going to get this from the conversation from. So conversations from, and then here we now need to pass the amount. So this is the amount that they have entered that they want to be charged. So this is going to be coming from the conversation we already had here, right? So the amount to charge, and then we now need to initiate the payment here. So here we do init payment. So that's now the last step that we are going to be having. Okay, so we now need to do some few things here. We need to get the payment, SASA payment that I told you about. So you're going to go to your code here, and you're going to look for this SASA payment here. This is what you are interested in specifically. So this is an asynchronous function. So what you're going to do here, you're going to just copy it, and you're going to come here and you're going to maybe say const payment response. It's going to be equals to await synchronous. Then you're going to pass that payhero payment here. So remember, this is coming from the wrapper that we created. So inside here, we don't really need to do too much. So all we have to do is we are just going to pass the directory, basically what we need to have. So we're going to come here, and I need to pass a few things. I need to pass the amount. So if you check here, you notice that we need the amount, phone number, the provider, network code, and external reference, and the callback URL. So you can just put the external reference here if you want. So I'm going to do amount. I'm going to say amount charged. This is what I want, because remember we did amount charged here. So do a comma. The next thing we need to do is a phone number. And down here, I'm going to do, hold on a minute, this has to be an object. Okay, phone number. So the phone number has to be coming from the state, which is this phone number here. Phone number. And we need the provider here. So we need the provider. So the provider, I'm going to enter it manually, and it's SasaPay. So this is payhero stuff. Good. Now the next thing we need to do is the network code. Network code, I don't remember that, so let's check which 623.902. Right, so I'm going to do network code 623.902. Okay, then let's do external reference, which is payment. Let's just say whatsapp payment something. Alright, then we now need to do the callback URL. So the callback URL here, callback URL is going to be the URL that you want to handle your WhatsApp payments at. So it will be like just another, it will be just like another webhook like we are creating here, but this will be specifically maybe for processing your WhatsApp payments. So that's up to you to decide. So you can enter whatever you want here. So I'm not going to be doing that. Example.com/payment WhatsApp. That's up to you to design. So that when this payment has been successfully completed, it is going to be sent here or whatever you want. Good. So that being done, we are already set up for that. I'm going to now go ahead and check if the status is successful. So I'm going to say if. So we're going to get a response here, and we're going to do a success. So if it's successful, then we want to do something. If it's successful, we're going to do something here. So I'm going to do send. I'm going to do send WhatsApp. Send WhatsApp message. It's going to be from, and then we can maybe say your amount has been initialized or something or whatever. So we can say your. So make sure you use this. So you say your payment of amount charged, which is this amount charged here. Just do Kenya shillings. Amount charged, you can say has been initialized successfully. Okay, so that is all actually. We don't need too much of this. Then if you wish, you could actually even have this body here. So you can say can say manual payment. You can have the payment response here, and you can do JSON. Stringify manual payment, so we can have that actually. Have it the way it is. And you can close it like that. There you go. So we should get that sent back to us. Okay, then you can have an else, which should cater for when this has failed. You can send WhatsApp message. Okay, then we can just say fail to initiate payment. All right, there we go. So now that being done, the next thing that we need to do is we need to reset the whole conversation. So down below here, you can do reset. So once these whole process are finished, we're going to just reset the whole thing. So we're going to say conversations. We're going to say conversations from, and we're going to say step. So you're going to start from the beginning again. So we're going to say step. So we'll just say start. Something like that. Then we can break here. Break. Finally, do our default. So that we just finish the whole thing. Okay. So the default, so every time you do a case, you have to, you need to have a default or what is a fallback. So I'm going to do send WhatsApp message, and basically we just need to do, maybe tell them I did not understand what you're trying to do. So this is in case any of these phone number, amount, all this stuff was not met or was not found in the response or the callback that we get. So I'm going to say I did not understand. Try again. Okay, so we're going to say that and close it here. Okay, so we can say I did not understand. Say try typing P to start. So typing P to start, something like that. Yep, and we can just do conversations. Sorry, we need to do it from here. We can do conversations from. Then here we need to just do step, and we can be done with that. And let's do a break. Alright, so there we go. So we have finished that and we have returned everything. So finally what we need to do is return a response. So we can do res dot, so this is up to you. We need to do the status that need to be returned, which should be 200, and then we can just do send success. So this will get notify us every time this process has passed or has failed or whatever. So that's really up to you. Success, and then this will just be for when there's an error in any of these steps. Good. So what you need to do now is go to our WhatsApp and test whether it's going to be working. So let's delete everything here. Just select that, and let's just just delete everything. At the same time, just make sure that our server is running correctly. There's no errors. And let's type pay. So if everything goes well as expected, we should get a response coming back from payhero. That seems like it's not working for whatever reason. So try again, pay, not working. So let's go ahead and check what the problem is. First things first, let's do console.log rec.body. So let's log this and just make sure that everything is working fine. So come back here and let's send pay. Okay, there seems to be an issue. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to test it from here and just make sure that the whole body thing is working fine. So I'm going to do that by getting our ng-rock. So we're just going to copy this, go here, get rid of that and paste this URL, send that. So in case this is working fine, we should get some body passed here. Hold on. Okay, so once we test this directory with the localhost, it's working fine, so we need to confirm what the issue is. If we test that again, that's working fine. So the issue might be with our ng-rock here. So let's go to ng-rock, copy this link, copy that just the way it is, and let's test it in Postman. API. Alright, then let's test that. Okay, good. So we're sure that is working fine. So cancel that. And we are going to try and send now the WhatsApp message here. Say pay. So if everything goes well, it should get a response here. One more thing that might be an issue, it might be that the API is not working. So to do that, let's try and fetch these details here. Okay, so it seems like the issue was with the session APIs. So for whatever reason that had happened, it has been fixed. So what we need to do now is we need to actually test whether the API is working. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say pay. So there we go. So it should say please enter a varied amount. So I'm going to say I want to pay 11 shillings. There you go. So with that, we expect to get back at least a response. Which number do you wish to get charged? Let me say 0740. Right, so I want it to send an SDK push to this number. There you go. So I have that. So in case the SDK push fails or you cancel or anything happens, automatically you get this option to send using the manual payment. So that's how you do it. So you can get as creative as you want with this. So this is not the only way that you can use this. Maybe you can send your invoices to WhatsApp, then initiate a payment, anything that you might want to do, send chat messages, get notifications, get whatever. So that's really up to you. So you can use this API for anything, and this is just one use case. So in case you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I'll answer them when I can. See you and have a good time.